Rookies is also here. Lisa, Shelly, Lady, TJ, Michelle, Coolio. Hey, we got the whole Midnight E-Car Apocalypse. All right, man. Got the whole gang out here. I'm not about to go through every single name. There's too many of y'all to just name out right now. But I appreciate everybody who showed up. Okay, so I'm just like just to reiterate, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going through a good chunk of the names in the scanner, and I'm not going to be going through each one specifically. What I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to like go down the list, and if it's something that I like, we're going to like add it to a list, and then at the end, once I go through everything and we see the names that we like, we're then going to spend time to actually chart and break each one down. Okay, so I'm just gonna I have a little sticky note on the side, and I'm going to go through each one. So right now this is just kind of like the scanning phase for me, and I'm just going through everything based off of the daily chart and the 4-hour chart. Okay, and then from there, so nothing will be really happening right now. I'm just going to pretty much build out my watch list, and then at the end of like after I scan through everything, and then I'm going to actually be breaking it down. Okay, so right now I'm just going to literally go one by one through the scanner. Or do you guys prefer, what do y'all prefer? Let me get some. Do you prefer that we just kind of break each one down as we go? Or do you want me to actually build out a list and then at the end we break everything down thoroughly? Um, what do y'all want? Thumbs up if you want me to go through everything quickly at the beginning and then we break down our finalized list at the end. Thumbs down if you want me to do everything as I go through it. What do you prefer? I just want to do whatever is easiest and most convenient. Okay, so build out the list and then break it down. All right, perfect. Okay, so just bear with me here as I go through everything. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, let's go ahead and build it out. All right, so I'm just going through the scanner. I don't know if you guys have access to the scanner, but I'm just going through the first name and I'm going to go down through each one. So just bear with me here. And what I'm always doing when I'm doing like these daily watch lists, I'm always focusing on the daily and the 4-hour. And I'm looking for momentum. Like ASML could be a good one because you have good momentum. This probably gaps up though. So I'm just going through it. Okay, I'm going to add Costco to the list. I'm going to add AMD to the list. Okay, I can do that too. So the reason I like Costco, and this will just be like a simple explanation, is just displacement through the -2 and LRLR. And then we'll do proper breakdowns at the end after the list is finalized, okay? AMD, same thing, gap up and displacement, nice higher time frame LRLR, pretty much kind of following the squiggles that we had on this a while back, and it's also a 3-2, and you have full time frame continuity. Is that cool? Like just something super small, like a breakdown like that, and then I build my watch list, and then at the end we're gonna go through each one by one and actually break it down. Is that cool? All right, perfect. All right, so then next one on the list. Someone asked about the scanner. Yeah, you can access the scanner in, I think it's pinned in bot chat, and it's probably also pinned in trading chat. If anyone has the links to that and you can pin it in the trading chat, that'd be pretty cool too. Um, just so I don't get a little sidetracked here. But yeah, everyone should be able to access it. There's also like a few videos. The scanner is basically like a small compilation of things that have decent option activity and or strength because I sorted by net change. So it's like it's showing me the names that are, you know, pretty prominent and are being pretty well traded because since we're sorting it by net change, we're looking for those leaders. And sometimes what happens with the scanner is like it gets picked up and then Maze ends up posting flow right around the same time. So it's really cool because when that happens and then we have flow with confluence and then it kind of has a setup that I like, it's also on there. It's just like cherry on top. So Carvana, you have a potential 4-hour structural shift here. highs, higher low. You actually swept and reclaimed the range. You're now gapping up on the daily with displacement, and it's also a failed to rev. So this one will go on the list as well. And you haven't even hit the -2 on the manipulation leg of this candle here, which lines up with previous month highs. Burlington, add that to the list. You have some really nice compression. Next on the list is AMAT. And remember, when I'm doing these daily watch lists, I'm going through the 4-hour and the daily. So AMAT's very similar to ASML, but I feel like a lot of semis are going to gap up. Same thing for ARM. CCJ is just non-stop. Datadog. Ooh, hold on. Did we come off of a monthly? Datadog is so close. So I'm just gonna set this up as we go through, because when we come back to this, I would like to talk about it. Oh, yep, there it is. One sec, y'all. Yeah, Datadog monthly discount, almost at a imbalance, and you also have a good 4-hour structure that if you hold this gap, you can LRLR all the way back into like 130. So good short-term risk on this. Next on this is Baba. Baba looks epic, y'all. I thought it was gonna do something like this. Shoot, something like this, and then break out. But with today's gap up, I'm not sure if you get that build into that build zone of discount. It still has a really good setup to it. Like if you look at Baba on the monthly, it's insane. AMKR, we talked about this one early in the week with leverage, and this one kind of just went nuts. This one already played out. So far on the list, we have Costco, AMD, Carvana, Burlington, Datadog, Baba, and next one on the list is BLDR. I'm not a fan of this one due to that daily close, but I do think home builders can still keep going. This one looks like it's in an MMBM too. You already changed the structure, so like you could keep doing that, but not added to the list. AAP. This one would have been good if we caught it here. Unfortunately, I think we're a little late to the party, because look at what develops. See that inverse end shoulders and then the structure changes? Dang. Nah, this one's cool too, but we're a little late to the party. Cam. Same for this one. Next on this EQT. Oh yeah, add EQT to the list. Gap down followed by consolidation that then gapped up and respected the gap, then followed through with another gap up, which was also your previous month low. Oh, oh yeah. Lower time frames show good development on this. We can also take the deviation from here. And we're going to cover this all in more depth as we finalize our list. Oh yeah, that's nice. -1 also cleans up a lot of this LRLR too. Whether we get a dip or just accelerate. I think 57 into 60 is a good target. This looks fire. Add EQT to the list. CHTR. No, don't like this one. This one's very aggressive. This one would be more of like a rip and dip type of thing. Don't like it though. Don't like crowd. Okay, we just finished page 1 on the list. I'm scrolling into the next section here. Have I ever saved my main layout and shared it? Yeah, it's pinned in trading chat as well. Can you explain what the scanner is scanning for? To an explanation would be good. Yeah, if you watch guys, there's a video in University tab, and there's 2 videos actually, and both do a good explanation of that, and then breakdowns on how to use it and how I use it. Highly recommend going into that and giving it a watch. Airbnb. Uh, Carl, yep, it's being recorded. Oh, dude, Airbnb weekly. Oh, just by looking at this chart, who can tell me why I like it on just relative to this weekly? Two things. Just two things. Oh, this looks so good. Add Airbnb to the list, and next to it, we're gonna put weekly time frame. We'll come back to this when we do it, but just right off the bat, two things I like here. That's one, weekly imbalance. Yep, NSR. Look at that confluence here, and it's on a weekly, and you just took out those previous week lows into this, and now back into that previous range. You also have on a smaller time frame, dude. This is a sick setup. Oh, this is a nice. Oh, look at the 3 day. Oh no. Oh, this is nice. We just need, since we're a little late to the party, we just need a bit more acceleration through like 137, unless we get maybe another little discount. 3 days still inside though. Oh, that's such a nice weekly shaping out. I have to see how tomorrow plays out, but we're gonna keep an eye on this. Yep, weekly slash 3 day. And into World Cup. Yeah, and you took out previous week low. Yep. Next on the list is Disney. You know, it's crazy. This is kind of what I had panned out for Disney. I think I did the wrong deviations here though. I think it's this one here. Dude, Disney looks insane too. Came in. I would have loved a previous day low sweep, but now you have. Oh yeah, add Disney to the list, guys. Uh, right off the bat, what are two things we like from here? Or just one thing in general I'm looking for on this daily and 4 hour. What does this do, and then what does it do? Yeah, not just an SR flip though. That's not the main one. Yeah, displacement a point of interest, but what are we displacing against? Yeah, inversion. Right? If this candle ceases to exist, uh, right? If this candle here ceases to exist, this is displacement with a gap down. In a From a theory perspective, we should have done this, rejected it, but now we aggressively reclaimed it and had a full body candle close. So I would love to see some kind of inside day that then accelerates. Disney looks good. Obviously, we're still in a swing for this one, so I actually really like this. And don't worry, y'all, we're gonna go more in depth towards the end. We're just finalizing a list. For those of you who are joining in a little bit late, we are just going through the scanner, and then I'm gonna do a little bit of scans through the bot chat. Where did I originally enter Disney? I think I entered it on like the consolidation. I think the weekly. So the weekly was kind of developing really nicely, and I could have been a little patient, but that's the thing too. Like when you have a breakout and then you're doing this, like I'm not very good at catching the momentum trades, but I know that price trades out the same way it traded in. So I traded somewhere within that initial consolidation. Then you had just like the little minor sweep, but now you're trying to aggressively reclaim. But when I look at this from a weekly standpoint, it's like look at where you're coming from, right? So like structurally, this still looks really good. I entered during the consolidation period of this, and then I would like to get a real build though, but I think I missed it. I was hoping for a previous day low sweep. If we would have swept here yesterday and then reclaimed, I would have definitely done it. But now we left that there. So we have to be a little cautious going into earnings. But this looks really, really good. Next on the list, decom. Nope. You already took out monthly highs and you ended up on a shooter. You do have a gap and a supportive breaker. Maybe the 4 hour. No, I've never traded this, so I don't think I will do this. Next on the list is car. Ooh. So this actually has This actually has a really nice chart. The only problem is we would be chasing and earnings are in 2 weeks. But guys, this is a powerful weekly chart. Manipulation at lows aggressively displaces back on a weekly scale and reclaims monthly inside week that then delivers against the inefficiency where you had the active sellers. And now you have 3 week closes where it failed to close all throughout last quarter. And so if this kind of continues, this actually looks really good. I wonder if these are relative equal highs. 62.38, 62.33. Okay. So this could be worth a potential lotto idea, like a 220.60 call. See how that develops. Okay, add car to the list. And we'll break it down further when we do like our time frame alignments and all that. Next on the list, BKR. This one's already trading out. Nope. It's alright, Hakeem. It happens, dude. I was pan W liquidity. Dell. Dell has a weekly gap. I think Dell wants a little lower. And right now I'm looking for momentum and strength trades. Nope, not adding ABVV. BX. BX probably looks like a short here. Yep. Look at your BX inverted Blackstone. Could be a good short into earnings, but not something I'm looking for here. DM already breaking out. Wow, this one's nice. You're already fully displacing into new monthly highs and filling the gap. If we were to still been here, I would have liked it, but you've already had back-to-back weekly acceleration. So unfortunately, this does not meet the criteria. Oh, CTSH. Nice weekly consolidation against a breaker. This could be one to watch. I'm going to add this one to the list just in case we need to break it down further. Liz, so I don't know if you were a little late or not, but right now I'm just going briefly through the scanner and then some bot chat scans that are strat related. And then I will eventually build a watch list towards the end, and then we're going to break down each one by one. And then if there's still time towards the end of the session, I'll try and do my best to take some individual tickers. Hopefully we do. Man, gold names have just been going crazy. Alcove, we literally talked about this. Oh, that's insane. But I feel like this is just too far gone. Next on the list is CMG. CMG has a epic weekly, man. But for me to actually like this, I would like a retracement. Maybe a previous month high retest and then go. But doesn't need it. Oh, BTU actually went nuts. BTU actually did it. Sheesh. I think you filled the gap. Yeah, you did, and you swept. Wow, beautiful breakout. I don't think this one might not be done because you literally compress for 3, 6, 9, like 12. You literally compress for like 3, 4 months. That's a monthly candle if I've ever seen one. Wow. Maybe on a pullback we could get back in on this. Okay, that's page 2 of the scanner. I'm gonna go a little bit quicker here. Oil might not be done. Cop goes through these periods of like compression before the next move, but I can't trade oil to save my life. I don't like CRM unless it has a bigger push. CRM could be a short pop and drop, but next. Delta. Oh, DVN doesn't look terrible. You do have monthly failure, but you have corrective gap ups that support price here. Inside 4 hour, this could actually be a potential end of week trade just because you have a gap up and a supportive 4 hour candle against the weakness. Because this was almost an entire shooter and it kind of propelled back a little bit there. I'm not a fan of the monthly high failure. Hmm. If you like trading oil, keep an eye on DVN. Add EMPH to the list. Previous month high break. Oh yeah, add EMPH to the list. This is a 4 hour. Daily looks epic. Failure at the gap, which is not the greatest, but you did go for a nice little sweep here. Did you take this lot? 33.59, 33.65. You did not, but you did get a good chunk of this. And you have that, oh, you have that monthly breaker here too. This is a really good SR flip. Oh, I really, really like this. I wish earnings weren't around the corner, man. Dude, this is a sick setup. 3-1 on the day as well. 3-1 on the day off of a previous week low sweep and reclaim and a monthly breaker. I pretty much just broke this down already. And you have a weekly vol and bell with look at all the LR on the higher time frame. Holy crap. Dude, I wish earnings weren't around the corner because I don't know how this will go. This company's always been hit or miss. Add EMPH to the list though, even though I kind of already broke this one down. BVS is not bad. Inside 4 against previous week high and month high. This could be your broadening expansion back in 85. Just a slow mover. I don't know what this is, but BTI on the weekly looks pretty solid. That's exactly what you want to see after a very aggressive candle. Basically coming in for the reset, because then you target all-time highs. Okay, I'm adding BTI to the list. I don't want to have too crazy of a list, so we can break down everything and still have time to do it. So right now I'm just gonna go through the motions here. Citigroup still doesn't look very good. Apple looks terrible. But you did, ooh, you could actually be coming into a weekly value zone here because you got all those sweeps. I wonder, this one's going to be more ER dependent. Wait, no, not adding this. BP is insane. Look at all this weekly compression. What is this? Oh, energy minerals, more oil. Oil still looks to be setting up, guys. Oil still looks to be setting up. This has some good compression. Ugh. Okay, keep an eye on BP and DVN if you like trading oil and have success with it. Okay, next page. So this is what I do basically, like a lot of the times when I do iterate through the scanner, I'm just going through everything. And the reason why I can go through it so fast is just because, like, if you pay attention to the things I liked so far, they kind of all have a lot of similarity behind them. And I'm pretty much looking for that. Man, BBY had such a good setup, but it failed. Thing is, though, you're still creating LR on this. Hmm. But I don't think the liquidity on that is good. Comcast doesn't look terrible, but it's tough to trade, for me at least. Nope, not looking at Dave. CHYM. Oh, what is this? Oh, earnings though. Dude, everything has earnings right around the corner. If this went for something like this, CHYM would be a freaking phenomenal setup. You have really good range here. Now you just need a breakaway, some kind of manipulation that gets established and then goes like red to green. This would be a really good setup if we were here and had like a hammer. So maybe wait on that. Not adding that to the list. X, yeah, AXL already breaking out. CLF as well. So these things are already running and gapping up, which likely lead to further gap ups. Dang, comp went off. I think we were looking at this one a while back. Oh, Array, another solar name. This thing looks crazy good too. Look at that daily consolidation. Maybe some solar names starting to break out. I didn't get a chance to look at CSIQ. CSIQ is still kind of developing here too. This kind of reminds me of Baba before Baba broke out. Next page. Hmm. Amazon failed at the gap up, then reclaimed near high of day. It's Amazon's against this. 226. This is the literal maybe a gap attempt. Amazon has a potential good RR for short term here. The risk would be against the gap at 226.50 and see if you can start to come in at least to try and attack previous week low. So this could be a good like weekly trade into like 235, 236. We'll add this one just to kind of cover it a little bit in case we have like some weekly traders or day trades because it could actually be a good day trade. BMY is at daily OTE. I'm adding BMY. Oh wow, CCL is almost back at. Is this? No way. This could be weekly discount. Oh, you're almost there. CCL in this area could be a good buy. EOSC looks epic. Look at this beautiful consolidation. Nice monthly sweep back into the range that then displaces. Pretty much still holding inside week. I think as long as you develop here, you attack the highs. EOSC added to the list. And then you have memory names. SNDK and MU, if you can catch some kind of like hourly retracement, these things are just squeezing, guys. Like there's no stopping them. Literally nothing stopping them. And you have some China names too, so keep an eye on those. And then home builders. Low could be a good trade. Look at low weekly. Insane. Low probably heads to all-time highs. How's HD weekly look? HD's a lagger. DHI. Oh, DHI has some good weekly compression. I bet you this is compressing at weekly discount. You can even get the you had here. I wonder if you've already hit the negative 2.5 and then retraced. Oh, you haven't even hit it. Oh, DHI could be a good long-term swing here. Are you in discount? One sec. Oh, dude. Okay, add DHI to the list just as a potential. It is a laggard. Like if you want to trade the strength in the like home builders, low is definitely the strong one here. But DHI starting outside weak. Dude, this looks fire. Okay, what else do we got here? No, I don't really like UNH. Guys, y'all see IBM weekly? Oh my gosh. When is earnings? What is that? Next week? Dude, this is a crazy setup. It's literally just waiting until earnings. Does price trade out the same way it trades in? Man, I wish it didn't have earnings. This would be a crazy setup. Intel just didn't stop, man. And this is what we were covering on like the monthly when we had the Intel leaps. Look at that. Look at that monthly. When you find a chart that has monthly displacement and you've been range bound like this, definitely pay a lot of attention to that. Because this is how you start those monthly. And I think Eric can attest to this, but we talked about how Intel could be in the start of that MMBM on like a higher degree. Dude, this probably hits the all-time highs in the end of year. Okay, next on the list. ILMN, nah. Oil team. No, this is already breaking now. Oh, damn! Some of these weekly charts looks insane. Han on inside week against this very aggressive moves. This is still threading all-time highs. Han could be a good one into 230. I wonder if that ends up being. Yep. Look at what the -2 is. Han could still be a good one if you now continue to develop. Question is, does earnings? Oh, earnings are on Thursday of next week. Ah, such a pretty chart. I'm gonna add it to the list just in case though. Han has a really pretty weekly. Okay, now I'm gonna go through the strat scan. So I think that's a good chunk of names on here. Eli Lilly also has a really good setup, by the way. You can add that one to the list. Um, and we'll cover it here in depth as well. Eli Lilly looks fire on the Eli Lilly looks fire on the 4 and daily, and we'll talk about it here in a bit. This is actually a really pretty chart. Okay, so now we're gonna cover the names on the scanner. Who can tell me what specific strat setup you think I'm actually interested in? Only one answer per person. Try to actually think about what the market has done this week. What strat scan do you think I'm actually interested in? If you get it right, I will buy you a coffee tomorrow morning. Yeah, who said power power what the heck? Who said potential outside week first? I can't tell. Craig and Kev were both at the same time. I'll send it to both of you guys. So just remind me in the morning. But yes. So why do you think that is? Why do you think potential outside week is the strat scan of interest for me? Why do you think that is? And while I wait for some responses, I'm going to head into the bot chat and now type in my request. Dash signal. We're looking for potential outside week, PO week. And now let's see what the results are. And I'm in bot chat in the server, by the way. I'm just waiting for the results to come up. Oh, there's actually a good chunk. Oh, nice. Let's see what the responses have been. We took out lows, now we're going back for highs. Swept higher time frame lows and coming back to the range because it's a power of 3, because price swept one side and could potentially expand past the other side. Yep. All those are 100% correct. So we took out a major higher time frame low. It could have been high as well and then reverse. And now we are aggressively trying to reclaim, as a lot of you said. And we're doing it with gap ups and displacement. So that's why it's appealing to me, because of not so much what we did, more so the delivery of price against these major lows. So now we're showing some really good potential, right? Because like, let's say this is our weekly candle and we came in, but then we immediately aggressively try to push back into the range. Like that is appealing to me because I want to be in favor of the leaders. Now, this can all fail overnight, right? Because we are against the gap down. But while we're kind of still holding relatively well on futures, I want to make sure that I have still done my homework on these potential outside weak names in case the market wants to continue. Eli Lilly is definitely something we should all be paying attention to. This doesn't fit the criteria. Still inside on the week, but the setup just looks good. But we'll cover it here in a bit. But yeah, everyone who answered, you guys are all 100% correct. So going through the potential outside weak names, now I'm going to go through this really quickly and we will have our list refined. So Carvana fits that. I'm going to add a 50 mark on that because it fits nice. That is one we had already covered. DD. What is this? Dupont de Nemours? I have no idea what this is. Merck. Oh, Merck already went outside week. Hmm. Is this scanner delayed then? Does anyone have another 50% scanner? Marvell also already went. Wait, what? This is already showing me outside. Wait, this is wrong. Hold on, I think I have a scanner on my thing. I might have to self-scan. I think this is a bit delayed. Give me one sec to load that up on my own. One sec, y'all. I apologize in advance. Okay, I think I pulled it up on mine. I'm gonna go ahead and use mine. Nope, this is also wrong. Wait, what? Hold on. Oh, it's because this one's not accounting for a failed. Okay, we'll just go through the one he has, see if any of these still resemble. And if anyone has a more appropriate scan, then yeah, because look, RKT is completely wrong. SNPS. Oh, I think we covered this one with leverage. SNPS looks good. Let's add that one on there. Oh, Zinger, yeah, if you got it, dude, that would be nice. If you could just populate your results and we could go through real quickly. Because this isn't, the scanner is a bit delayed. Yeah, Disney also meets the criteria, correct? We're gonna add a 50 next to that. Yeah, if anyone has like the populated results for that, because this one it does not look to be accurate at all. Datadog also meets the criteria. DHI also meets their criteria. Okay, it's good to see that we have some of the setups we like in here. Nice. BLDR, that's not a potential outside week. What is going on? My scan don't work either. Decker's Outdoor is threatening outside week. Decent setup too. Especially with what you did here. Did this sweep? 97.92, 97.66. Oh, you did. Oh, this one could be a potential one on the 4-hour. But options change, probably not that good. Did you post it already? Oh, okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah, I'm just going through this real quickly. See if there's anything else on here. Someone said Nike. Oh, Nike has a good setup. Okay, add Nike on the list. What do we got? We got Costco, AMD, Carvana, Burlington, Datadog, Baba, EQT, Disney, Airbnb, Car, CTASH, EMPH, BTI, Amazon, BMY, EOSC, DHI, HON, Eli Lilly, SPS, and Nike. So we have about 21 names already. I think that's pretty good for now, right? I think that's a solid list there to go through. You guys ready to kind of break everything down one by one now? We could wait for Zinger to post it. More, you're crazy, dude. There's some really pretty charts. So there's a lot of also like momentum trades too. GS could still run higher. GS is actually at an hourly discount and then broke out at previous day high failure though. Low looks good, man. Low's weekly looks really pretty. Ross. Okay, hold on. Okay, so Ross is threading potential outside week, but what other name did we like that's similar to Ross? There could be a theme here. Who remembers the other name in here? I wonder if something's coming. Burlington, right? Thinking caps on. Burlington and Ross. Wait, aren't they owned by the same thing? Don't they all fall? Is it Ross, Burlington, TJ Maxx, Kohl's, Michaels? Aren't they all like within? Where is it? Some of them, not all of them. I don't. The Cooper companies. What in the world? This one looks good too. What is this? Yo, this looks pretty solid as well. Also threatening outside week. Oh no, this is not threatening. Just has really good consolidation. Nike's also on here. First Solar? No. First Solar has potential outside week. Oh, perfect, brother. Can you send me that list, dude? Or can you send me that scan? If you don't mind. Or can you... It's mine. Which one? Mine literally didn't pop up. Am I using the right one? Dude, which one did I send you? I don't know what the heck you're talking about. Dude, yeah, I don't know what the heck you're talking about.
It's
Just
the hey, what up?
what,
It's the V3 scanner. The one
really?
where you can set it yeah, it's yours. It's literally titled load scan query personal Abby Fib month V3.
Dude, that's the one I'm using, but none of the names that you just posted are popping up for me.
Did you sort it by cuz you're looking for outside week to the upside. Did you sort it by the weekly time frame that are 2 down currently?
Oh, that's right. Oh,
Hey.
you genius. You genius. That's right. I have to do it two down. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
There you go.
Okay. Nah, yeah, now we're talking. Zingy. Zingy, look at you, bros. Look at you. Look at
Know
you.
your scanner
Yes,
better than you, boo.
you do. Bro, I just haven't used this one because we had the bot chat. But you're right. The reason he said two down, guys, and why that's important is because the weekly took out previous week low, but now it's a failed two down. That's why we sorted by two down. Uber, yep, Uber looks solid. We already covered this one. All right, now we're talking. I like that Datadog is on here. Vanguard. Nike looks good. DD. Oh, DD has a potential PO3. Oh, Gap looks fire. Whoa. Oh, Gap looks solid. All right, add Gap. Okay, I think that's good for now. Pay Zinger right now. Zinger, can you send me 20 bucks? Thanks. All right, so let's work backwards here. All right, we got our list. Here is our list. Gonna post it in here. Sec. All right, so we're gonna pretty much work backwards here. So we're gonna start off with gap, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pretty much break everything down. Give me 1 second here to close this off. Cool. All right, so gap, 4-hour chart daily. And the reason we're looking at this is because it is a potential outside week candidate. Now, there's only Thursday and Friday left, and this still has a bit of a wide range to go. It's only about $1, but that's a lot for gap. Now, it is a rev on the week that did take out previous week low. We came into a nice weekly OB and pretty much reclaimed back into the range. When we head into the daily, we just displaced through a gap down that caused those previous week low sweeps. Right? So context and price, buyers definitely stepped up after that higher time frame narrative. Now, the cool thing about this too is we're also at a potential discount here, right? We actually have a very clean, true optimal trade entry. Now, we did miss the overall optimal entry, but we still have the delivery out. So now, as long as what we know to be true about price, as long as this overall zone here holds, we could potentially risk an entry on a potential retest to then redeliver into that gap, which would then put us at previous week high. Notice how that previous week high also lines up with that opened gap here, right? Which makes it a really nice target. And that also kind of completes this little LRLR that exists here. So if gap gives some kind of entry tomorrow, I really like this as a trade as well. As long as you stay above now like this low 26s and we can get some push through, I would target outside week. Now, you might not make it into outside week, so you might need like an extra week or two, but the overall target would be into this gap. So this has a very good 4-hour structure, really good weekly trying to develop, and you have really good daily. So you have confluences of the higher low, higher time frame sweep, inverted gap with a really nice daily displacement. And now you have a 4-hour LRLR setup with confluences of a gap. A really, really nice chart here. I wonder if this actually, did you already hit the -2 when you retraced here? Let's see. You did, look at that. -2, -2.5, now you came back. So now if we looked for the next one, I mean, technically it would be this. Okay, I like that. So the -3 now is 29. Yeah, so this would be a good area. And then if you actually manage to displace through this, the next target would be somewhere up here. This looks really good. I like this one. So I will add I like. Next one on the list, working backwards, is Nike. This is also a failed weekly that did come into, yet again, a really supportive confluence here. Who can tell me what this is? Why did we mark this out? What is this little pocket here? Volume balance, exactly. And we had it on a weekly, so very good PD array here. And then we get delivery. So when we come into these areas, right, these areas of importance, we care about how price delivers. In terms of the context of that PD array, is it a supportive PD array? Is it a PD array that's going to reject, right? And it's even better when you find them on the daily and weekly. So that's really good. And now you're threatening that outside week. This one actually could do it if we have like a bigger gap up. But again, for this one, you might need a little bit more time. The good thing about Nike, though, is that earnings aren't until March. So this one could actually give you some pretty good development overall. And then you have this really clean like weekly structure here. So like whether you dip or not, or you go from here, this looks really good for continuation into ER. I don't know if you can get the outside week target. I mean, Nike does have its days where it just goes, but now the key thing is basically holding this area here for follow through. And if you do get that breakaway, the target would be 70 into ER. SMPS, this one probably has good potential to hit previous week or outside week high. Outside week, previous week high. um, really nice redelivery after a previous week low sweep, and you're aggressively climbing back into that range. This is a very nice daily displacement candle as well. I love these. I love these red to green moves, man. They're so powerful when you take out that external low and then immediately come back into that. So this one could actually be a good weekly trade or next week trade, and we target 535, 540 ish areas. We can even do this too, right? If you want to even try a swing, 560 could be a target. Is there a gap? Yep. Okay, so that makes sense. There's a gap up here. So this has really good buildup. Really, really good buildup. And I wonder, last aggressive candle down low before the push up. I wonder if this made it to discount based off of the 4-hour leg. Yep, and it did. So you have good delivery off of your discount confluence of that previous week low with an aggressive reclaim. Follow through was really good as well. Now you're trying to push back through this gap. You did not get the daily close above this. So if you could find some acceptance above 524.21, maybe like on a 4-hour, maybe like a peak above and then a reset. I do like this into a potential outside week. So if you can find an entry somewhere within this daily candle, I think it could make for a good entry back into that previous week high. And finally maybe attempting some kind of gap fill later into January, early February. Really nice chart. Eli Lilly, this chart is freaking good. Guys, this is you're literally consolidating. The only problem with Eli Lilly is that this one is more of a momentum trade as opposed to like a swing. Option spread for SMPS is really wide. Yeah, maybe it cleans up tomorrow. Weeklies usually have a little bit better volume, so maybe tomorrow when things readjust and it opens, it could clean up. But Eli Lilly, this you're literally consolidating above your all-time highs, your previous all-time highs that put price into a like 2-year consolidation absorption period, and now you're consolidating above it really nicely. So you're still inside on the week. So you haven't even triggered. And if you trigger, you have a nice inversion, a nice fail to, a 2-2 reversal here on the 4. And you have what I really like on the 4-hour here because we came into a gap and sweep, tested a nice 4-hour OB, and then redelivered, creating that inversion, which also now lines up with a breaker right here. And now we have a really pretty 4-hour candle here. And now we're kind of just using this to develop to now target back up into like 1,100. This is a very pretty chart just because of how you're manipulating those lows and what price is doing afterwards, right? And you're still, and the crazy thing is you're still inside on the week. So if you think you're late, not really. If you're catching this for like a 1 week or 2 week trade, this has so much potential because now the risk is against previous day high, 1,045. If we can develop above this, $30 risk for a, like, what is this, man? Like 50 plus move potential, super clean chart. And you're still inside on the week. That's what makes this even better. Still inside 2 week as well. And you're pretty much trying to wick back on the monthly 2-day, nice 2-day inversion against that sweep. You actually even had, I mean, if you really want to, like, you even have this like little discounted zone here on the 2-day, right? Which we talked about how like it's not as applicable because we had the failure at highs, but from the overall standpoint, it's still swing low to swing high, swing low to swing high. This looks really, really good. I really like Eli Lilly. Next up is Honeywell. Honeywell is, if it didn't have ER, man, this would be a really good trade to all-time highs. And we have our -4 from the pop-up failure low that then redirects. So that's just kind of like the manipulation point. Really pretty displacement, displacement. Now putting in a nice inside weak. You are putting it in against your little OB here. So you do have this bearish PD array here. But if you can get a reclaim of like 223, I do think this runs to like 240. Unfortunately, you do have earnings next week, Monday, which could kind of change everything. But if it didn't have it, this would be a good case study to kind of watch. Is more of like a higher time frame momentum trade that probably continues to carry out. DH high. So we have a potential weekly discount where we have exhaustive lows, right? We did not continue to sweep. And then what I like about this is that those exhaustive lows managed to go outside weak. And now we have a potential outside weak candle here on the horizon that actually does have enough juice to do it. So if this kind of opens up within the same general area, because this is a previous week low sweep with reclaim, if this does open up within the same general region, maybe some 160 calls for the week could play out, and we target those previous week highs. This looks really, really good. Nice 4 hour buildup. So maybe it depends on where you open up, right? Like something like this would be nice if you don't open up within here. This could also gap up and trigger the weekly almost instantly. And the reason, like, I don't know if you get a full like re-entry is because you already got the sweep here and really nice breaker paired with a gap. And this is probably like a 4 hour higher low. Yep. So like you've kind of already done the retest. So this one might just give you a continuation at open, but this one's a really good one for a potential swing too, because you haven't hit the -2, and this is a laggard to a lot of the home builders. This one also has like a wide spread. So if you're looking for a potential swing, earnings are still out of the way. Like I think this just had earnings. Oh yeah, it did. Oh, they even better. So like if you want to maybe grab like some Marches or April 200s, because this is really pretty buildup. Like now you have compression here. And what do we know about price in terms of how it could trade out? What does it tend to like to do? This is some crazy compression. Trades in the same way it trades out, or it trades out the same way it trades in. Yeah, exactly. So this one has some pretty nice compression if you want to maybe take advantage of this. And the risk would just be, do you get a weekly close under like 138, 140? And then if you want to try and attempt a potential outside week, if it doesn't like gap up, also potential if you can open within today's range. EOSC is one to really like because of this aggressive weekly candle here, right? Really pretty technically inside week, still utilizing a weekly breaker plus a weekly inefficiency, aka our fair value gap. So when I have this like overlapping here, a really good visual of SR flip against your last OB, but now you're using it as support after a really nice monthly sweep and reclaim. So like if I expand this out on like the 2 day, it looks even cleaner, right? Of where you had active selling at one point due to that higher time frame OB. And when you kind of draw it out, you have this. And now you're trying to consolidate above where you had those last sellers that took you into those new 52-week lows. So for EOSC, this still has a lot of juice in my opinion. Maybe some 220-20 calls. I really like EOSC a lot. BMY, this one's kind of more of a straightforward trade. The only problem is it's against a gap down, which isn't my favorite, but it was also against the gap down here, and then you created new higher highs. So this one's been a very nice staircase kind of chart. And once again, you're back into that discount, and you have a really nice daily. So if you like good risk reward, you're risking about $1 here for a $3 move. So you have 1 to 3 odds. Really, really nice. The only problem is you're going against the gap down, which could kind of change the development if like this pushes up and then fails against your consolidation lows. And then you kind of go into your sell curve. But you have really good RR anyways. So even if it fails, it's literally only a dollar risk. So maybe some 220 calls to see if this higher low can expand into ER. This one is more of just a straightforward trade. The only problem again is just this gap down back under those previous month highs, because like the weekly is not the greatest now, and neither is the monthly, right? But could be worth it against this little structure that it's been kind of in for a while. So maybe you have some success here. Amazon was based off of the 4 hour window, and you do have like the higher time frame trend here as well. That every time you've kind of been in there, it's respected it pretty well, and each one has led to some pretty good progression, right? What do we know about price? Price tends to have memory. If it remembers what it did once, twice, thrice, could do it a fourth, right? And I think we were on the 4 hour for this. Yeah. So I really like how you kind of pushed back down and then immediately reclaimed it, almost had a full body close back into high of day. And the reason I like it is because not only do you have that supportive daily trend, but you also have that 4 hour gap that got filled. So the risk against Amazon is literally like 227, right? So you have good short-term RR, and the objective here would be to try and get some redelivery back into that gap. 235, 236 would be a good SR point to try and target with a confluence of liquidity. Previous lows, gap down, but you do have some supportive elements on the 4 and daily. Can you get some potential moves? So this one would be more of like a short-term trade based off of the daily rev here. And you do have that weekly potentially trying to hammer. And you did sweep as well, guys. 227.18. This weekly low is 226.18. So I mean, this one has potential for a short term, right? So I like this for short term. I don't know if Mays posted any Amazon flow, but if he did, that could be a good uh, confluence for this as well. BTI, I think this one was more just like a weekly targeting all-time highs, maybe like some 220.60 calls. It just based off of like the inversion against a previous month low with acceleration back, right? You're threading outside month. So that's what I'm saying. If you grab some 220 calls, you could potentially target all-time highs, like some 220 60s for POM. And I mean, the confluence against this monthly low is inefficiency and OB. And I bet you if we kind of drill down into the 2 day, whoops, you came into like some potential discount here to develop a higher low into a new higher high. Would you look at that? And your double inside 2 day. This looks freaking good. This looks freaking good. Oh, he did? Amazon 230s, 213s. Oh, would you look at that? Yeah. So that okay, so that kind of fits the narrative of the short-term idea. I like that. Even though it is in the money, you could probably get away with some 235s for 220s or 240s for 220s. Or if you want to do weeklies, those probably pay pretty well as well. BTI actually looks really good the more you drill it down. And you guys see the importance of like starting off the higher one and then building your way down. Have you noticed how we've done that for like every single name that we've liked so far? You want to start high and then build your way in, because then you start to observe different things and potentially identify a good entry point. Bro, BTI actually looks crazy. I might actually grab, this is a double inside quarter. I might actually grab some 220 calls to just run into ER and see what happens. I have no idea what this is, but this chart looks insane. I'm less cautious against Amazon because of the confluences that exist for that. It has a little bit more confluences than BMY. BMY is more of a structural thing. Amazon is like you have these externals and you've actually had some sweeps. Both very similar. That's a very good question, by the way. Okay, next one. I think I already covered EMPH in depth, but real quickly once again. We got some Khalid playing. I think this one's also outside week. Yeah, this one's also threatening outside week against a really nice daily breaker weekly volume imbalance after sweeping previous week low. Now we're back into that range. Can we actually get a successful close above 36 where we haven't been able to do so? You also have a 3-1 on the daily. This one also I feel like could be good for short term momentum too if you don't want to go for a swing. Maybe maybe like 2 weeks out and see if we can target those high 37s. And if we can get a daily close above 36.81, that kind of confirms this overall move. And we could then work on the next leg up into like 39.40. 3-1 on the daily against a daily breaker. Previous month high retest. Weekly hammer that is now threatening outside week. Again, this has a little bit of room to go, but can very much do it in 2 days. And you have really good LRLR here on the 4 hour as well with a gap up to now support price. Look at that. This looks fire. This looks super fire for short term. But we know how EMPH trades. So maybe you need like 2 weeks or something. CTSH. Now this one is just is not as great because I'm not a fan of this daily gap and failure because that puts a potential risk. Because you see how you have like this previous month high sweep, but then immediately rejects. And with this gap here, because we didn't get a strong close through, could potentially put at risk for a range low sweep. And then you have some kind of like broadening to broadening that goes on here. So if we can't get a recovery through 85, this actually becomes a potential short where then the real long exists, in my opinion, because it's still all against that weekly, right? You see how if you go for a weekly sweep, you're still against the overall breaker in like the last area of sellers. So like you could still mess around in this range. But if it wants to convince me that it's going to try and accelerate back into like 88, 90, I need a strong daily close above 85. But this has a lot of good potential just because of this monthly failure, right? There was no follow through. So we could be in a like little mini broadening that kind of builds out. Uh what the heck did I do on here? What happened to car? Why do I Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, I got you. All right, so breaking down car in depth, really nice monthly sweep with recovery back into an outside week, putting us into a potential. Oh, we did go outside month already, right? And now we had a 3-1-2 up. We know ADEX loves those, and this is also at the bottom of a higher time frame broadening. We have weekly displacement going into the 2-day displacement. You do have a little gap here, so there is some supply. So 57.74 would be the next key barrier to break, and then we could start working on a new MMBM, right? Consolidation, consolidation cycle, consolidation cycle. So now that we've kind of changed the structure a bit, drawing it out, right? You went from lows to new highs. So now we can work on the potential MMBM against like 54. And now we're looking for a attempt into those weekly relative equal highs at 62.38. This one does have earnings on the horizon, though. A lot of things do, obviously, but this looks really, really good. I really like this chart a lot. I'm probably gonna put. I think Novo covered this one too. Airbnb and Airbnb was against the 3-day. So really nice SR flip here, and this looks like Wyckoff because this would be your potential spring here. And you see how like price is stuck for a while with the breakdown and then recovery and now a retest. So what would that retest potentially give us? A move into 145. So this would be a really good reset here. Really nice weekly setting up as well. Maybe some when is earnings? So this one has earnings in a month. Actually, this one's not that bad. Maybe attempt like some 320s, 150 calls or some 220, 140s. See if you can go in the money. But based off of this 3-day and what we know to be true, especially about broadenings and SR flips and these Wyckoff models, right? This kind of accumulation ends up developing higher. And like from a monthly standpoint, excuse me, that was also a monthly inefficiency plus monthly breaker. And look at these clean highs up here just getting ready. So that's why I think like 142 into like 145 could be a really good target on this if you could be a little patient with it. But just look at this 3 day and tell me you don't like this, man. This 3 day looks so clean. We're gonna look at the 4 day just to make ADEX happy. We're gonna look at the 7 day just to make him happy. 7 day looks really good too. 7 day looks insane. He would be so happy right now. I'm gonna put I like next to this as well. And just to make sure, because I have been noticing some people dropping off. I know it's getting a little late, but so far so good. Everything kind of like making sense with the breakdowns and stuff, and how I like get your watch list and then you break everything down with the time frames from the top to bottom. Cool, cool, cool. All right, Disney. Oh, our beloved Disney. I mean, we know why we like this one, right? I like the fact that it was exhaustive lows. I would have loved a sweep at that 108 area. That would have been super clean if we got that sweep, but we didn't. But the thing that still makes it okay for me is that we are now inverting this gap here. So now we have a really good reference point for price. And I'm going to label this inversion. And we have our manipulation, right? From this push up, down, that then accelerates to the gap. And what I like about the -2 is that it lines up with those weekly highs, right? Look at that -2. And if I just kind of delete everything all at once, look at this. You are now threatening outside weak as well. Fail 2 down, where the overall delivery now potentially has a little inverse head and shoulders look to it, because this could also now start to unwind. And the reason I like that -118 is because it lines up with the -2 and those highs that have not been tested. 119.78. 119.78. What do we call that? What do we call that? 119.78. 119.78. Payday. Relative equal highs. Yeah. And I like that these relative equal highs line up on a weekly time frame into our -2. We know that -2, -25 is a really good sweet spot for our targets against the manipulation candles. And I really like that daily delivery. I know Disney can be a pain in that, you know, insert the bleep, but you also have a potential PO3 setting up on the 4 hour that we didn't cover, right? So I'm gonna delete all this real quick and get this out of the way just so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is where all at once, I want you guys to do what the little minions in Toy Story did when they're looking at the claw. The claw, get it? Anyways, really nice PO3 setting up here as well, right? And what do we talk about when we're setting up these PO3s? What's really important in doing? Alien House, would you add tomorrow on Disney? So if we didn't have earnings in 2 weeks, I would. I really, really would. Dude, like I should have when I said it today, I should have just done it there and then, because you did you see how crazy Disney moved afterwards? So I feel like the add point was today. So now I'm just gonna leave what I have because we're not down that much anymore. But going back to this, like when we have these PO3s, what's really important, and apart from setting up the manipulation, what afterwards needs to really happen to like set this in motion? Like when we have the PO3s, what do we need to really do? Yeah, displacement, but displacement against what? Because think about it like this: if we have a range here and you kind of consolidating and you break down and you come back, yeah, not range highs, but Ash, you're on there, you're getting close. If you have this consolidation, you break down, you come back. Technically, you do what here? What would you do here? Technically, you would technically reject, right? From a theory standpoint. But in order to assess the PO3 against this last known area where buyers were, if it's going to set up, yeah, not just CISD paper, but if you're displacing, you're trying to displace through the range lows. So RB trades, you were right. I just think you had the wrong verbiage there. Range lows. It would be range highs if you were breaking out and then back into that range, right? But you are also correct, paper chaser. Whoops, that is the wrong command. So yeah, we need that displacement through the range highs. So when I go back and look at Disney, are we displacing back through those range lows here where we had active buyers here at one point? Are we trying to aggressively displace back through that? Yeah. So that's why I'm like, okay, Disney might give us some hope here because of how it's setting up and against those exhausted lows too. So I need to like go back and get all my notes back though. Does that make sense? And that's from a 4 hour. You see how we're like the thing is like the more confluence you can build out, the better. The better. Because now we have confluences on the daily, weekly, and now the 4 hour. So it's really, really good. I really like Disney a lot, guys. And if it didn't have earnings, I would have added heavy today. If I now I'm kind of regretting that I read that message from the member saying Disney has ER. And then again, Disney can always fail because we know how this goes. Disney always tends to like piss everyone off. EQT, EQT 4 hours. So this one's really nice because of that potential MMBM curve. I would love a dip and rip first off. The only problem is we are inside 4 against these range highs here. And so I don't know if we get the dip that I would want. But if I had it in a perfect world, I would like some kind of retest that then delivers higher. Because you have a really clean lower time frame LRLR model here. And the reason I like that model is because you have a gap down into new 52-week lows that then gaps up and for the first time actually shows some involvement of buyers because then this gap up does what? If we go down into a deeper look here, what does that gap up do? And what is that gap up against? Why is that relative? Why is that important? This gap down here into new 52-week lows that then accelerates back and then gaps up. This gap up is against what? And then what does it do? Yeah, it supports buyers and it's against the gap down. So this area here that was once highlighted in red, we've now flipped it entirely. Guys, this setup is freaking 10 out of 10. If I could just get a dip. Now, when I go back and look at the hourly, like this looks pretty solid. This build, like every time it's had build up like this, after it changed that initial, it just continues. So like that's what makes me hesitant, especially when I look at the 4 hour and that daily candle. I don't know if I get the entry, but if I get a dip, I would definitely position for some like February 22060 calls. Does that make sense though? Like when you kind of break it down like that, because like we can even break it down on the 4 hour, right? Look here, 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 here. If I drag this out, what just happened on the 4 hour? Yeah, MSS. Yeah. Oh man, bro, you guys. All right, you guys are on point today. You guys are on point today. So like because we've had this MSS and we've had back-to-back gap up days, especially with a gap up that inverts a gap down against 52-week lows and supports, and now we have a full body close, right? This daily looks super powerful. Like that's why I'm like, I don't know if we get a retest. I would love one if we can kind of dig down maybe like 52, 53s to then target 60, but I just don't know if we're gonna get that because when price moves like this, what do I say about it? Price has an objective, right? And it wants to go. Oh, and it's almost outside month? No, this is not. You mean outside week? No, wait, what? Outside month would be Or am I seeing something wrong? No, I mean you have a nice rev month. Outside month would have been if it was like further up here. Wrong time frame. What time frame are you looking at? See where the potential outside. And now you have supportive confluence on the weekly too. So I would like at least some kind of 57 into 60 retest. Hammering on 13 day. Oh yeah, and you're threading that too, and you're against the previous week low. So like you do have a little spot here. Like now that I saw that. So this is a very very pretty chart. What happened to my drawings? Did I delete them? What happened? Wait, what? Did I actually delete them? Oh yeah, I did. Whoops. So yeah, I really really like this chart. I would love for a dip because that would kind of increase our risk reward into that 57-60 zone. Baba, I mean, you guys know kind of what my thought process here is. I would like some kind of uh, really nice higher time frame development. Whether you kind of flag it out, I would like a full on breakout. Because like, look at this monthly, right? This is monthly discount after 3 months of consolidation, right? Monthly discount that just went outside month. Now you're trying to break through this little 171 area, which is a monthly flip point and monthly OB. But if you can get any kind of weekly close to 171, I don't see how Baba doesn't trade into like 190, 200 area. We're not taking speakers right now, Marcus. We're just kind of going through the motions, brother. How do you determine to use fib on daily versus weekly or higher time frame? So everything's fractal, right? Like if you can see the structure on the weekly, because for example, it's actually a good question. But like if you have a weekly, like let's say this is my weekly chart, right? You have this weekly here. So on this weekly, it's able to we're able to identify where the significant low and higher low is, right? Now, in between this weekly structure, you have daily structure. And that daily structure could look something like this, right? And then those fibs would be in between here and here. Now, zooming into this daily structure, you have 4 hour and hourly structure that also has something different, right? Does that kind of make sense? LRV 148. Yeah. So just you want to build it down, and the key thing there is like just being able to identify where your swing low and swing high points are for your downtrends and your uptrends, and then you can mark it out. Like for example, here for Baba, right? I went ahead and did the weekly leg. So from this swing point low to these new highs, now I have my weekly swing point, but I don't know if I'm going to get that. So then I have to then drill into like the 4 hour and look at different structures on the 4 hour, and then I drill into the 2 hour because then I can use those time frames because I know that that structure is fractal, right? And the key is using it. Yep, the key is using it with other complements, 100%, bro. So Baba still looks good for follow through, guys. Even if you don't get the full on discount, because like look at the confluence. Oh man, if the confluences down here are just amazing, breaker, gap, uh, coming off of a weekly MSS. You have your golden pocket. Oh man, if we got that, that would be money in the bank. But I just don't know if we get it because now you gapped up and you're putting in a really nice weekly here. So Baba still looks phenomenal to kind of continue. And like I would love, if you don't get this breakout, I would just kind of love a full on trade all the way back up in it, like 180, 182, 190 potential. It just comes down to getting a good entry on this. Yeah, so breakers are basically when you have your trends, it's just a fancy way of saying previous highs or lows. So if I have this in this trend here, these are your breakers. It's just a fancy way of saying previous highs and lows. It's just easier to say breaker. And they kind of get the name with the whole like breaker structure. So when you have this higher high, higher low, you get a new break of structure because you're making a new high. So this previous high is now being broken into a new one. You see where it gets the name, and then it becomes a breaker. Ta-da! Does that help? Nikki? I don't know how to say that. I'm so sorry if I think I just completely butchered that. But does that help? Perfect. Do you have any tips on when to take a gap outside of discount, like Bob Run the Rate for discount? I miss a lot of plays because of that. Yeah, dude, that's tough because it's really hard to differentiate, and like I struggle with that as well. And my best response for that is it just comes down to like experience and just intuition. Like if you've seen it enough to know which gaps tend to work better, you kind of have a little bit more familiarization with which ones to take. It's really hard though. And I agree. I'm very similar. I miss a lot because sometimes they don't go in a discount either. And that just comes down to like the best way I could put it is just like how are the candles developing for you? Like are they demonstrating strength in a way where they're not going to give you more retracement? Is kind of how I would best put it. And like for Baba here, for example, you just gapped up against the gap down that was against previous month highs, right? And now you're putting in a pretty decent daily. And when I go in the 2 day, right, you're still looking pretty good. Even the weekly is almost a full weekly close. So it's like now you have an inside week, and if we don't break out from here, then this would be my entry point. So like if Baba doesn't break it this week, next week probably comes in and kind of holds in here, and that would kind of be where I look for an entry. Does that kind of help a little bit? I know it's not a very straightforward answer. It's just hard. But finishing off our list here, Datadog is also a potential outside week, right? We're really close. And what I like about this one is, yes, you did kind of fail and exhaust back, but you have a really clean like LR leg here, and you have a gap up against 52-week lows that's now showing some potential signs. Like, look at this 4 hour, guys. There's been like it's just been selling after selling after selling. And like the one time you actually had displacement, you actually cleaned up that LRLR and you showed some signs, right? And that went from like 131 to like 146. So you had a good $15 move. Who's to say that we don't do it again here? Because you kind of have the same program here. Nice LRLR. There's no real displacement that occurs here. And this is the first sign of actual buying because now you gapped up against this slow gradual sell, right? What do we call this kind of sell? LRLR, yeah, staircase. So this is the staircase analogy. So like now that we actually have some active buying, you have a gap up that then displaces, and now you're holding a nice inside four. So now I have this as a reference point here. If Datadog can kind of consolidate above 119, I would definitely like to target 130. So it's like a $3 risk for a $10 reward. I like those odds if you respect it. So definitely keep Datadog on watch. This would be more of a shorter term trade, but I like this one a lot as well. And Paper House, yeah, I got you here towards the end, but I still really like it. And Datadog's is still a weekly OTE, so I wouldn't really classify that as OTE because look at this. You have this, and then it changes against this, unless you're doing like monthly maybe. Then this could be monthly discount. Yeah. So you do have monthly discount against a sweep, and you are in a corrective inefficiency here too. Oh, dude, the monthly looks fire if it can develop a little bit more. From your experience, you consider sideways consolidation compression to be better for breakout versus an LRLR. From my experience, I actually prefer the LRLR trades because the reason I prefer the LRLR trades, uh, let me get a little canvas here. The reason I prefer the LRLR trades is because usually when I'm taking them, it's in correspondence to like structure and just because I know how like things tend to trade. If I have this, right, and then you have this trend here and you're doing this, but you're coming into a POI of like interest, right? You have your like let's say you're in discount here, you're at your breaker. Like a lot of the times, like those LRLR moves tend to have more confluences than as opposed to if I just have this, right? If I have this, whoops, which one has more confluences? This should probably help you. Because a lot of times when you're in that sideways buildup, you're just stuck in a zone. Versus when you're creating that staircase, you're coming into areas that you can then create those confluences for. Versus the sideways action, like you could get stuck. Like let's say, like similar to me, right? With Disney, I bought it within the consolidation, and then got stuck on the breakdown. Luckily, we're getting some good recovery. But what if you get stuck on the breakdown or whatever, you know? So it's like it's hard to tell because when you're in a consolidation period, you have to understand that it can break in any direction and you create a lot of traps, right? You're the whole point of consolidation is to absorb both buyers and sellers. And it can be unclear in terms of what's going to happen first. Is there going to be manipulation? Is there going to be breakouts? You know what I'm saying? Versus like the bottom image is a little bit more descriptive in terms of like, hey, we can build out a better blue. That's just in my personal opinion, like from what I've experienced. I like the LRLR more is because I usually can build out better confluences from the structure. All right, guys, I'm going to finish off the list here and then I will answer Paper Chaser's question and we will call it a night. Does that, hopefully that helps though. So like for Burlington, that's kind of this one. So you see how like, even though the internal looks really, really good, I don't know, like I still don't really have a clear bias as like, hey, this is going to break out. But we know just because of those kind of like consolidations, like we know that price tends to trade out the same way it traded in, right? Like you see how you build it up here, but look at what Burlington did here. If you would have bought in this consolidation, then you have that manipulation, and then the next day it just immediately reverses. Same thing over here, right? You can get stuck in those traps. So, but we know one thing is still true. They trade out the same way they trade in. So it just comes down to trying to capture more of like the low end. So being a participant on the bottom end of the consolidation. So you're not too at risk. And sometimes like FOMO steps in because you really like a chart, right? But like for Burlington, you have really good compression. So do we get a nice breakout? Carvana? Carvana just looks like a beautiful chart. And like this is 4 hour discount, guys. I can't ignore this, right? 4 hour discount, trying to displace back through displacement. -2 lines up at previous month highs. Really nice sweep into a supportive daily volume imbalance here. Discount, you have your 4 hour structural change when you come in and kind of annotate this. Oh, and this is another good example of that structure. Um, when I was talking about things that are fractal. So like look at the weekly, right? The weekly, there's no real like change in the order flow. Like you still have this and then you have the retracement. Right now you're doing this. Let's dig into the daily. Daily then shows what? Look at what the daily's doing, right? Daily has this, right? Let's go into the 4 hour, right? 4 hours kind of similar to the daily, but you see how like it changes as you dig down. You see how like, oh, all of a sudden now you have more sets of higher lows and higher highs within the overall weekly trend. That's how you use the lower time frames to find your entries. And that's why like I say taking, no offense, but like taking strat setups from like weekly and monthly setups aren't the greatest because you're late. And that's why I recommend using strut setups on your 4 hour and maybe the daily. Because you see, this is a live example here. Like the overall weekly changes as you digress into the 4 hour. Because now the 4 hour has this. And now when I drag this out, 4 hour just had an MSS into a really nice higher low, which was also paired with nice PD array, nice confluence on the golden pocket. You also came in and retested a fair value gap. And now you're threatening outside weak, right? And you have a gap up on the daily. And so, dude, this looks freaking good. Whether like even if it doesn't accelerate through here and you get one more dive, like I really do think you can get 484 into earnings. So definitely put Carvana on that list. Hopefully this doesn't get gap up tomorrow. Premiums are expensive though. And then lastly is AMD and Costco, but we don't need to spend too much time on this. Basically, we're looking for all-time highs on AMD before earnings, just based off of these aggressive outside candles that finally breaking out here, right? You were basically destroying both sides, and now the breakout is actually showing its hand here. So if you can get any kind of retest, if it doesn't gap up, I do like this for all-time highs. Same for Costco, right? Costco squiggles from our original thesis back in late late November, early December. We're still looking for 995 and 1000. Just continuation trades here. As far as CISQ, I still have a bullish bias on this because we are still within the overall weekly golden pocket relative to our imbalance here, right? And your double insight on the week, even in what I'm waiting for, like if you do break down, this is still weekly discount that could put in a manipulation leg. So that's the reason why I did April's is because if we do get a double insight week breakdown, like I will actually this is where I get my final scale in. But I just love the overall setup is like you broke out and now you're absorbing this massive breakout, and I'm willing to wait it out. So I wouldn't mind a discount if it does. And if it doesn't, then we just need a daily reclaim or weekly reclaim of like 22.4, 22.5. But I am still holding it, and I would love to get a final scale if we do get a redelivery of a full discount leg here. But it still looks really good. And like when I go to the BABA chart, do they not look similar here? Look at this BABA chart here and like how you build up over here. I know they're different names and sectors, but like patterns are repetitive. And this is recorded, about a 2 hour long session. Hopefully you guys learned something. I know I haven't done something like this in a while, and I was just kind of feeling it today. Had a pretty good dinner. Might go get some Whataburger right now. But if you have any feedback or if like there's any things that I can progress on for next time, or if you just enjoy these charting sessions, we can definitely try and do them more often. But yeah, if any feedback, I whether good or bad, I take it all. You're welcome, Maddie. I see you. um, Missed your lessons like this, fam. Thank you for your time. No, I appreciate it, Raptors, man. It's good to have you back. Do it often. Yeah, of course. We could do it as time allows. I might actually be stuck in my house this weekend, so we could probably do one sometime this weekend. It's gonna freeze up like crazy. And if you live in Texas, you know that when it freezes, you can't do anything because everyone rushes to their grocery stores and takes everything. Literally everything. Grocery stores are completely empty when Texas freezes. Everyone freaks out. Everyone hates driving out here. Yeah, Ellen, I hope I don't need to work next week. Bro, it's only gonna freeze like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But everyone's already panicking. Like freaking Costco was so packed. Walmart too. Everyone freaks out. And they take all the toilet paper for some reason. Like, why do you need so much toilet paper for like 2 days? It's crazy. Yeah, Zinger, you see what I'm saying, dude? Bro, Zinger's the guy who does it. Oh, that is hilarious. Oh, I'm so glad you get that reference. Anyways, I hope you all have a wonderful night. ADEX should probably post a recording sometime tomorrow or later today. I'm not sure. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this session and you learned a lot.